Behind the Brand takes an inside look at the people that are making things happen. From up-and-coming entrepreneurs to the big guys, we show you how they go about their business. Meet the innovators with the know-how and vision to succeed. Get behind the brand. I'm Brian Elliott, and I'm here in Orange County, actually beautiful Irvine, here with well-known author John Jantsch, who's written Duct Tape Marketing, and now his new book, Referral Engine. John, how you doing?
I'm doing great, and thanks for having such beautiful weather. I hear it's uncommon here.
That's right, very uncommon in Southern California. So tell us about Referral Engine and what's it all about?
It's a book I've probably been working on for years. I mean, it's just the subject of referrals is such a big one. I really work with small businesses primarily, and it's such a big one. In fact, I would go out when I would frequently speak and ask a lot of small business owners, how'd you get to this point? How'd you grow your business to this point? And always, well, we did some work for somebody and they liked it, so they told somebody and then they told somebody, and so word of mouth, absolutely the best, strongest way to grow their business. But then the follow-up question always was, well, if you know it's that strong, what do you do about it, systematically yourself to make sure that it happens all the time? I mean, you do that, right? And it was always, no, I never really thought about that. And so I've always kind of known that I wanted to write a book to really address what I saw as kind of something that didn't make sense to me.
At the end of Duct Tape Marketing, or throughout Duct Tape Marketing, sort of peppered in referring people and referral. So do you feel in some ways this is a bit of an extension of that book, or is this a completely different book?
I think it might be considered an extension. I think that this book may have, we don't get into maybe some of the strategy things that I did so much in depth maybe in Duct Tape Marketing. I think this book will have appeal maybe to entire chunks of industries, real estate agents, insurance people, financial services, professional services people that really feel like, hey, referrals are the only way that we can grow our business. And
I was going to ask you that actually. So for those who haven't read Duct Tape yet, or are just now finding out about Referral Engine, who is the book for? Who'd you write it for?
Yeah, this particular book, I mean, really you can say, in fact, one of the most gratifying things is that I've had large, agency people and large corporate folks, marketing folks tell me, hey, this is what we need too. Certainly my focus is maybe the under 50 employees kind of business where they are still doing a lot of it themselves. If they don't have an outside agency,
right.
Maybe they have the owner of the business is still very involved in the marketing, and they just want to understand how to take a systematic approach to their marketing so that it just makes it a little easier.
Well, I think it's a great market, and I think it's a great approach. How do you get through to those people who are historically sort of the unconvinced, if you will? Those are the mom and pops, the smaller businesses. Those are the people sort of doing it old school. Yeah. And from what I understand, going through the book, it's new school thinking, isn't it?
Well, it is and it isn't. I mean, the fundamentals of marketing haven't changed. I mean, the engaging the customer and exciting them, giving them something that they want to talk about.
Yeah, the principles are the same.
Yeah, they really are not. They really are the same. The reality is that the prospect, the customer, is now using a new set of tools to find businesses that they want to do business with, to engage those, and to conduct business. And so, what I really focus on in this book, and I think there are a lot of small business owners I talk to that are put off by the sort of the hype of, oh, I have to be on Facebook and I have to be on Twitter, like that's this sort of new religion almost. Right. And what I really tackle in this book is that actually I think the most highly referable businesses are those that fuse kind of the high touch business with the high tech. So they use this new set of tools to actually build deeper relationships in some cases with those people that they might see across the desk or meet in person. And I think that if businesses kind of wrap their head around that, then sort of the hype about Twitter or Facebook kind of goes away.
Well, a lot of those things too are tactical, right?
Yeah, that's right.
And in Duct Tape a lot you talk about strategy and about having a business plan.
Yeah.
Talk to us about the process then of Referral Engine. You mentioned some processes, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I actually started out to write this book as the very much kind of the roadmap for how to get your customers to talk about you and how to get referrals and how to partner with businesses that can refer. And that's certainly in there. But I interviewed probably in the neighborhood of 100 businesses that I saw either getting a lot of referrals or that people told me about that people love to talk about. And what became clear pretty quickly was that the businesses that get a lot of referrals may do some of those kind of systematic things, but before they ever start that, they just are more referable. I mean, nobody talks about boring businesses. I mean, the businesses that really get a lot of referrals are people that go out there and say, how can we tell a certain market that we have exactly what they need? How can we create a better customer experience? I mean, how can we do something that people just can't not talk about? And that's the whole strategy piece. In fact, I think if you nail some of that stuff, the tactics that you surround it with in some cases aren't even that important as long as you have a good strategy.
That sort of depends, right? It all depends on what your objectives are. The tactics flow from the objective, right?
Yeah. And unfortunately, sadly, a lot of small businesses, they get into business because they know how to do something, they know how to build something, they want to put out a product, and so the idea of even planning or objectives sometimes doesn't even cross their minds.
Well, you think about, you mentioned boring businesses. So how about if you're in a vacuum and you think that you are the bee's knees, right? You think that you're the end all be all. How do you talk to those folks about maybe thinking outside? And
well, one of the first things I do with somebody like that is I go and I ask them to tell me who their 4 or 5 greatest competitors are, and then we copy the first paragraph off of their website onto a page, and we do with their website as well. Right. And I show that page to them, and they quickly realize that they're all usually, and this is experience, maybe you'll be the exception, the person that's watching this, but usually what they quickly come to realize is we're all saying the same thing. Right. Nobody's stepping out there, nobody's doing anything different. We all have great service, and that sometimes is real eye-opening.
Yeah, and you've heard other marketers like Seth Godin talk about, nobody cares about you.
Right.
And it's the reality. And even David Meerman Scott has said the same thing in his book Worldwide Rave and different things. So give us some tactical things. People watching are entrepreneurs, there's sole proprietors, they have S Corps, and they represent industries across the board, from technology to automotive to retail shops and whatnot.
Well, one of the very first things I would tell you to do is, from a tactical standpoint, and again, this is still on strategy, but it's an action step that you should take, is go out and spend some time with 5, 6, 7, 8 of your best customers, your most profitable customers. Maybe customers that already refer business to you. That would be even better. And find out what they really think about what you do. A lot of times, if I were to ask a small business owner to tell me what is it that you do that's great, that's innovative, and they have an idea, 9 times out of 10, it's not really what their customers like and enjoy and rave about. And so really getting in their heads, and don't let them say, well, you provide good service, because that's meaningless. I mean, push them a little bit.
So you're saying really do active listening. Find out what
interviews maybe even is how I would look at it. I mean, survey them, but in a very what you're looking for is common threads. I can't tell you how many times I've done that with clients, and we will get the most killer message or strategy right out of the mouths of their customers, because a lot of times it's the little things that our customers appreciate that we just do because we think everybody does that.
Well, and those are sort of obvious things that you may feel as common sense, just like referrals are important, but those are sort of platitudes in a way. And so how do you tactically then do you attack those problems with folks that?
For sure. Well, the probably the thing I'm the most excited about from a tactical standpoint, and I cover it in numerous chapters in this book, because a lot of people think when they think in terms of referrals, it's sort of limited to their customers, and that makes sense. I mean, they bought from them, they experienced them, they know how brilliant you are. I mean, obviously that's a great customer, or that's a great base to draw from. Right. But one of to me, the real hidden opportunities is in what I would call a strategic partner network. Every small business should look at, if they have a customer, what they should start doing is they should start looking at that customer and saying, what is everything else that they need to get what they want out of their business or what they want out of their life, and could I identify best of class providers that could kind of be part of my team, so that anytime my customer needed anything, I could say, oh, you need a garage door opener fixer? I've got a great one for you, and I can send that person to you. By starting that mindset, what they're going to do is, now I go into great detail about all the ways that you can actually formalize those relationships and how you can create opportunities for each other, but if you take that first mindset of being, how can I add more value to my customers by building this team, what you're going to find happening is that's going to become, potentially, if you do it right, your best source of new leads, because those folks are going to start looking to you as being part of their team as well.
So in a sense, you become a resource. Well, it's brilliant, because normally you think about referrals, you think about customer referrals, a friend telling a friend, and then they come into your shop or your restaurant. What you're talking about is strategic partnerships.
Right.
and becoming a resource so that
Right.
those people also become your referral base.
Right. Yeah, and there's great ways to do it. I mean, if those you have folks that that say, "Hey, we need to be working together." I can't tell you how many times businesses tell me that, but then they can't really figure out a way to do it. So maybe you create content opportunities where they could actually be a guest blogger on your site, or maybe you have a great workshop that you hold, and they'll put you in front of their client base because you can add value to their client base. So if you start looking at it that way and start creating opportunities to do things together, what's going to happen just quite naturally is you're going to start getting leads from that.
Cross-pollination.
Absolutely, absolutely. But it's the right mindset. So often people go into it with, "Hey, do you know anybody you can send me?" Right? And if you take that mindset of, "Hey, how can I take care of my customers?" First, you're going to surround yourself with the right people, the right motivation, but you're also going to make yourself more valuable to your customers. Right? If you become known as the go-to person
right.
for everything they need, well, how are they ever going to leave you? Right?
Well, it's the beauty of authentic, transparent
Right.
conversations too, where if you're actually sending people someplace else, it gives you a bit of credibility, doesn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. Especially if you have really taken the time to make sure that they're best of class as well, right? I mean, so that you are getting your client or somebody something they need. I mean, you're doing them a favor.
Well, it's classic. You're saying, I know a guy, and he'll take good care of you, or she does amazing work, and she won't steer you wrong. It's, I think, what everyone wants, a guarantee almost.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that there's plenty of literature, not even business books, that would suggest this whole idea about giving, is how you turn the whole side around. And that's, the people that give the most, generally speaking, are going to get the most too.
Talk to us about integrating with traditional media, because a lot of the small businesses, that's definitely an obstacle. They don't have money for a big PR campaign or a big ad campaign. They're not going to be on TV, And so they're sort of, I think, grasping at straws in many ways, looking at Facebook is a fabulous option if you do it right. Yeah. But talk to us about using traditional media, especially reaching out to journalists and everything. Mm-hmm. I know there's a piece in here that talks about that.
Yeah, that's actually one of my favorite uses of the new technology. I mean, one of the things that journalists, for example, used to be kind of hard to get in touch with. I mean, if they wanted to wall themselves off, I mean, you had a fax machine, you could email them, I mean, those kinds of things. But you didn't really have access to them. Well, now every journalist in America has to write a blog, because their publications told them they had to. And so in a way you now, or they have to be on Facebook, they have to be on Twitter. I mean,
well, they're out there, right?
Yeah, and in a way you have unprecedented access to them, but not so that you can now bombard them with your stuff.
Right.
But how about thinking in terms of identifying 5 or 6 journalists that are important to your industry, your community, subscribe to their blogs, put them up in Google Alerts, for example, where anytime they write something, that's going to be zapped to your email inbox. And all of a sudden you have the ability to start now making comments on their blogs, start responding.
I don't want to pass over that too quickly, because a lot of the folks that are sort of new to technology don't understand about RSS feeds and these Google Reader things. It's so easy and free, all these amazing tools, right? That you can just have all that piped right into your right in front of you to read every day.
Well, and it kind of automates the process too. A lot of times people look at all this and they go, "Oh, all this new stuff I have to do."
Right.
Well, you set some of these routines up, and it just becomes part of your day to check in and see if there's anything you need to respond to.
And it's customized to exactly what you want. Whether you set it to track your own name or your own brand, or the people that you're tracking. I love that.
Yeah, but from a journalist, just to finish on that story, I mean, it allows you to then kind of build relationships with those people, and that's how you're going to get media coverage.
And I love the way you point out then how you can use and leverage these social networks, whether it's Facebook or Twitter. I think social media gives us incredible access where we never had it before. You can definitely stalk your favorite personality, but it also gives you a way to reach out, like you said in the book about reaching out to that journalist on Facebook. You notice something in the article, then you contacted them through that medium.
That's right.
And that was perfectly appropriate. I mean, he probably would not have received, even if you sent him a FedEx package, to toss it in the trash, but you hit him where he was talking.
Exactly. It was relevant, it was personalized, I mean, it was right. It was basically something he needed. Right? And I think that that's the key. But, I will tell you also, we started talking about the traditional things. I mean, networking at your Chamber of Commerce event, right? Still very valid way to make start relationships, meet new people. But instead of getting that stack of business cards and go back to your office the next day and start firing off emails about how it's great to meet them, connect with those people on LinkedIn, on Facebook, on Twitter, and what'll happen all of a sudden is they're going to start sharing parts of their lives and their business and what they need. I mean, voluntarily, right? Because that's what people do. And if you set up ways that you can just kind of gently monitor that, all of a sudden you can start building a relationship with that person, I think, much faster than you would in kind of traditional networking style, so that the next month at the mixer, when you see them, you're good friends. I mean, I think it just really speeds the relationship up. So that's a good example of how to kind of fuse this old world, new world stuff, I think.
Yeah, excellent. Well, we've been talking with John Jantsch, author of The Referral Engine. And John, it's been a pleasure to sit here and talk with you, spend a few minutes. I'm a big fan.
Well, thank you very much. Thanks. Appropriately colored book right here for Orange County.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. Thank you so much.
You bet. All right.